Hello friends, welcome in this video. Today we are going to continue the portion of degrees of comparison. In the previous 4 videos I have discussed and taught degrees of comparison. Now in the same series, today's is the 5th video, and as I said, when the comparison is between only two, positive and comparative sentences can be made. When the comparison is between more than two, positive, comparative, superlative, all the 3 sentences can be made. And in today's video we are going to learn one more type when the comparison is between more than two. So here we go. You just have a careful look at this. This is not the oldest temple in this village. If you remove not, it will become one of the previous degrees of comparison. That is, with not it becomes superlative, but that which is given in video 4, or you can see that without not it's the type in video 4, and when you use not it becomes a different type. Now we are going to learn how to write the answers when there is not in this structure, superlative structure. One more thing you have to remember, that this has got 2 comparatives and 2 positives, 2 comparative structures and 2 positive structures. So here we go. In comparative, not comes, no down, and comparative form comes, but then some other, these 3 words you have to note down, because these 3 words you can call them focal point. They are focal point when it is comparative degree. Comparative whose superlative has got not. Now when you say then some other, note down one more thing. This comparative has begun with the same subject as the superlative. The same subject. When the subject begins the comparative, in that not must come after the verb. You just take into your memory the clear picture of the structure. Then the answer will be easy, or when you are writing, it will come to you exactly the same as you have remembered. Okay, this is not older than some other temples in this village. So then some other is the focal point. Now this is one comparative degree form. There's the other. In this, the object begins like here. Some other temples in this village. Some other temples in this village are. You should note this too. Here it is singular verb because the subject is singular. Here the subject is plural, that is why the verb is plural. Some other temples in this village are. Perhaps. This you have to note down, because when the object begins the comparative structure, in that after the verb form perhaps must come. And then the comparative form, older than this subject. Temple you can write, but it is optional. In the context, in the situation, temple is understood because we are comparing temples in the same village. Okay, but you can write, or if you don't want, you don't need. Okay, now these are the two comparative structures. The following are two positive structures. Now first begin with the object, some other temples in this village. Some other temples in this village are, remember this, at least, it shows positive, at least as old as this. Temple again is optional. So when the object, some other temples in this village, begins the positive degree structure, it must have at least these two words, focal point, at least as old as this. Old is positive form, positive degree form. Now there's one more positive structure here. It begins with subject. This is perhaps not. Underline these words or remember these two words. The second positive degree structure, which begins with the same subject as the superlative or comparative, then you must write after the verb form, perhaps not. This must come, because these are the words which make the structure clear and which make the meaning also clear. So you have to note down these words when you are learning. So this is perhaps not as old as some other temples in this village. So now you know that in superlative, not is the word which tells that this is a different type of superlative. In comparative, not plus than some other. These are the words which tell that this is comparative degree structure beginning with subject. When the comparative degree structure begins with object, some other temples in this village, then perhaps is the word which comes after verb form that you should put for the clearance of the meaning and for the understanding of the structure. Perhaps only than this. In one positive which begins with object, some other temples in this village, at least are the words which you should remember. At least as old as this. At least comes after the verb form and before as adjective as. If you want to remember exactly the same structure for your convenience or for making it easy, you can remember in this way. The second or the other positive degree structure begins with subject. When it begins with subject, after the verb form, these two words must come, perhaps not. Perhaps not as old as some other temples in this village. So now this you can remember by understanding or by underlining the most important words for the structure. Now we will just learn it in the same structure, but look here. Take the second example. From the structure itself you can tell if it has got at least, it is positive degree. If it has got at least, you know. Okay, look here, at least, positive degree. It means that the given is positive degree. You can change it into comparative superlative. But as we have studied two positive structures are there, two comparative structures are there. One is given. Okay, let's take another positive degree structure. So this will begin with subject, because the one which is given is beginning with some other. So here this begins with object here, the subject Dhanaji Kaka. Object here in this sentence it becomes subject. Dhanaji Kaka is. Here the subject is plural, so verb is plural. Here the subject is singular, so the verb is singular. And as you know, perhaps not. Just give attention. Perhaps not comes after the verb form. Comes after the verb form. Dhanaji Kaka is perhaps not as poor as some other old people in our colony. So from the perfect words, focal point words, you can remember the structures very well. Now let's have a look here. It has got then some other, and it begins with subject, and this is the word, one more word you have to remember, not and then some other. Not comes after verb form, and if not is there, then some other is there, then it is comparative degree structure beginning with subject. Dhanaji Kaka is not poorer than some other old people in our colony. And here beginning with object or the given subject. Some other old people in our colony are. This word you should note down. After verb form, perhaps come. In one comparative degree form, after verb not comes, then some other comes. In the other comparative degree form, after verb form, perhaps comes. Okay. So here now is the superlative form. Superlative has got only one structure. Like here, you can just see not comes and the superlative form comes. That is the identification of this structure. Dhanaji Kaka is not the poorest old person in our colony. So now we can take one more example of this type so that you can get a clear idea. Is not more talented than some other students. Standard day. So now from this you can understand not is there, comparative form is there, and then some other, these words are there. So this is comparative degree structure which begins with subject. If I want to take the object form to make the second structure, okay, you can just compare this, okay, you can compare this, okay, with this. With this. Manoj is not more talented than some other students. So this is the same. Now if you want to make the second one, second comparative, which begins the object, then the answer will be some other students in standard 10. You can just see here, okay? R, this must come perhaps more talented. More talented. Now you can see that then Manoj. These are the two comparative structures. If you want superlative structure, then you can take subject, Manoj is not comes, then the most talented student in standard 10. So you can see that the superlative but not with the superlative form, but not superlative form. You can take two positive forms. If you take subject, Manoj is, then after verb form perhaps must come. Perhaps not. Okay, as talented. Just repeat it. Yes, I have taken marker. Manoj is perhaps not as talented as some other students in standard 10. So this is positive structure with subject beginning, perhaps not. These two words you have to remember after the verb form. If you want to begin with object, then it will be like this. Some other students in standard 10 are, these two words are important, at least as talented as Manoj. So now you can understand that in degree structures there are some particular words which give you clue or which are helpful for us to remember the structure very well. And with this technique, if you make the practice of writing the same degree sentences several times, then these sentences will become a part of your memory and you will not find grammar as difficult as maybe it was for you previously. I hope you have understood this type. Okay, the remaining and the last type I will talk about it, or I will teach it in the second video, in the next video. Okay, so I say goodbye, thank you, take care.